Hello, vinyl community. My name is Mike Bigelow. I'm from Chico, California, and I love collecting vinyl. And in this video, my first video for vinyl community, I'm going to tell you how I got into it and tell you where I've been since with vinyl collecting. I'm going to start with 1978. I was like 3 years old, and my mom and dad had like a vinyl collection, but they didn't know how to take care of it very good because they had a Gerard turntable that was part of the electrophonic stereo that we had back in the day. They had FM and AM, then an 8-track player that worked somehow. Stories that my mom and dad told that I put peanut butter in it when I was a kid, and I got in trouble over it, but that's another story for another time. And my mom and dad's record collection wasn't in good condition. They had like one Ronco compilation, but they had this, my mom had this thick record that was called Super 73, and it was really thick. And from the story what my mom told, I think I remember this. My mom and her sister had, way back before I was born, this was happening. They had, my mom ordered this Super 73 album. It was like Impressions. It's not the original artist. It was a very horrible album, very horrible compilation. My mom would play it with her sister, not my sister, her sister, outside, and what it did was melt the album. Since the album was so thick, and it was a lousy album, Super 73, lousy compilation, wasn't an original artist, and they warped it. So that was back before I was born, and it kept in the record collection until 2007 when I had to get rid of it, or 2008 when I got the Ion. I had to get rid of most of my mom and the majority of my mom and dad's record collection that they passed on, because it was not in good condition, and I didn't want to take a chance of ruining my needle on my Iowa, so I had to throw it in the trash. Sorry, mom and dad, it had to be done. And I had to step away from the vinyl back in 2002 and make a transition. I'm ahead of myself. Back in 1989, not 89, but 1990, my mom got me like a Sears console stereo that had your basic turntable with the stacker and AM and FM stereo, and also had an 8-track player and recorder. The recorder worked some of the time, but not a lot. But my main focus was playing vinyl. I played a little bit of 8-track, tested the recorded and 8-track. That was all. But what my main pleasure was the vinyl. And my vinyl collections varied from the Doobie Brothers, Supertramp, Heat Wave, you name it, K-Tales. I collected those, and it lasted for 2 years. 2 years, so I had to make a transition to that from vinyl to CD, because my mom wanted me to do that, because she wanted me to get with the times, since vinyl wasn't important part of the music industry. CDs was, so she wanted me to get with the times. So back in 1992, she gave me this, like, she bought me this JVC stereo with 3 CDs, carousel, along with the cassette, dual cassette player and recorder, and AM and FM on it. That was from the 90s, and when we got into the 2000s, summer of 2000, I wanted to get back into vinyl again. All I had was my mom and dad's old record collection that was still there before I tossed it out. I bought an Iowa back at Warts before they were closing back in 2000. Bought a Y, or whatever you pronounce the name. It had a 3 CD carousel as well, along with the dual cassette recorder and player, and also had a separate turntable in it, and it was very cool, and I loved it. And fast forwarding into 2008, I bought an Ion belt drive turntable, and it lasted for 5-6 years. Then a year ago, I bought my first direct drive turntable, and I love it. And it's Audio Technics ATLP 120 USB direct drive professional turntable. That's the same turntables that used by Craig Tube. How you doing, Craig? Want to give you a shout out there, Craig Tube. He's another vinyl community guy that collects vinyl. And I want to give another shout out to Radio Mac as well. I don't know if Radio Mac is in the vinyl community, but who knows. Hi to YouTube Mac. And I'm regaining my vinyl collection surely but slowly. I used to have all of them till a month ago. I had to get rid of 50% of my vinyl because it was getting worn out and to the point where it's not going to be playable anymore, so I tossed it out. But I kept most of the ones that are in good condition, so I still have those. I used to shop at Melody since I moved to Chico back in 2005. That was my record store, Melody Records. But a few months ago, I got a flyer. It's like a Chico. It was like a catalog Chico. What stores were in Chico? I checked the record stores, and there was a record store I didn't know about existed, and it's called Spin Again Records. That's now my record store now, Spin Again, and the owners are very nice over there. His name is Alex, and his helper Travis. They're pretty cool, and I like that record store. It's an awesome record store. Has a lot of variety, a lot of great selection, and the owners and his staff are very nice over there at Spin Again, and I like it over there. So that's my record store, and that's how I got into record collecting, through my late mom and dad, and it held with me all my life except for the 90s, 92, when I had to give it up. But somewhere in the 2000s, that love been brought back, the love of vinyl, and I'm gonna try my darnest to make the collection work here, leaps and bounds, growing, and I'll glad to be part of the vinyl community here on YouTube, along with CraigTube and all that. And my next video, I'm going to show you my record collections. Part 1 is going to be the LPs, and part 2 is going to be the 45s. So look out for those in the vinyl community. Saying bye-bye for now. Mike the Retro, my nickname. And I'll see you next time.